Okay, Ballista, hello there. Ah, that's not going to work. What about here? Okay. Oh, that was absolutely delicious. Did you see the ragdoll? The ragdoll that literally. Oh, that is great. Hello and welcome back to the Ronin, and, well, I have more Crusade news to tell you. Basically, I've been attempting to take back some of the castles. Don't worry, I'm not going to show you all of the sieges or anything like that, because as I said, I'd probably take them off screen anyway, because we've already seen those. But I've already defeated an army of a pretty sizable amount, about 400 to 500 units. I basically just auto-resolved it because they had a lot of low-tier units, and we only ended up losing about 40 to 50 units in the process. However, a lot of our units were wounded in that effort. And what is going on with that? Did you see that hit? Wow, that was pretty crazy. That was pretty crazy. Okay, yeah. Anyway, so now we're up against another batch of Crusade. And bear in mind that I took every single Crusade that I could from that previous army prisoner, and now we're fighting a bunch of other ones. Now, of course, as I have mentioned in the past, I am not a big fan of horse archers. That's a bit of an understatement, but still, I'm not a big fan of them. And this continues in this episode, because just look at how much damage I took. I was, I think, at about 80% HP or something along those lines, and I've already taken more than 50% of my max total HP in damage. So it is it's actually kind of insane. Anyway, let's see if we can maybe take that guy. Oh, no, that was a nice hit. Oh my. Oh no, that was really nice. Oh yeah. You know those kinds of hits where you just go, that was great. That was really nicely done. And albeit I might very well die here as a result, because I'm getting a little bit too close into enemy territory for my liking, so I'm gonna just pull back a little here and maybe do a little bit of damage to some of the other units on the outlying areas of the battlefield, just to kind of keep myself in relatively safe terms here. I obviously don't. That's the thing. I think I need to charge in. Actually, I think I need to charge in my infantry, because it seems like we are in a situation where we really need their assistance. You can see here that the enemy's infantry is not really doing much, so if we can get our infantry to enter the battle ahead of the others, ahead of the opponent, then we should have a pretty overwhelming advantage. So I'm hopeful that that will indeed happen. Oh, so much damage is being dealt with this weapon. I absolutely love it. It's so nice that we were actually able to make something that is actually usable and actually viable. Because most of the time, whenever I have created a weapon, it's usually either a joke weapon or something that is not particularly that effective and can be easily replaced by any store-bought merchandise, which is always disappointing to me, you know, because in the past I've created some really cool weapons, or at least I thought they were kind of cool, and then later on I would go into a marketplace, and any marketplace pretty much, and I'd find out that this particular weapon could be replaced by any of the weapons in there. And it might very well be the case that that's the same here. However, I feel like, I don't know, it feels a bit different. It feels a bit different, because I personally feel like it's going to be difficult to find a slashing polearm that has this reach and does this amount of damage, because it's made of mahogany, and I would assume that that's kind of a rare material, or at least I hope it's kind of a rare material in comparison to pine, for example, because of course in the previous episode that's where we crafted this weapon, if you'd like to check out the exact specifications of it or anything. But anyway, point is, I feel like that material is going to be a little bit rarer to see in these marketplaces than anything else. So, well, not anything else, but than the other more common materials like pine. So hopefully that's going to be how it is, and indeed we've created something rather unique and something that is going to be staying with us for a decent amount of time. But you can see just how effective this thing is. It is very easy to use, and that's coming from me, because let's face it, my skill cap is not that high, you know. I'm all right, you know. I'm all right most of the time, but generally in any kind of high skill situation where I'm going to need to block against multiple enemies, for example, I'm not going to be able to really do that for an extended period of time. I have done that in the past sometimes, but only when I've been adequately on the ball, if you know what I mean. So, you know, maybe I've had my daily coffee, or, you know, just generally I'm feeling a little bit more awake than normal. But yes, that kind of thing is definitely going to make a pretty significant difference to how well you do. Having a good weapon, that's what I'm talking about. Because this weapon really makes me feel like I can pretty much do anything, obviously apart from the fact that we cannot deflect arrows with our face. That's the only issue with it, because we don't have a shield, but not really that much of a problem in my opinion. Anyway, here we go. Yeah, also shields might be a bit of a problem. Also my perks, I don't know whether you realize, but the amount of perks that I took that were more geared towards thrusting polearms was numerous, and so that's going to be a bit problematic because now I'm unable to change it. So I won't be able to just go and be like, oh yeah, you know, I'd like this one instead of this, and so on. So that's obviously a little bit sad, because it would have been pretty cool to have some slashing stuff. But there you go. Anyway, that's a nice victory for us right there. 385 units eliminated from the Khuzait, and indeed from the Tetsujin as well. As you can see, a bunch of Tetsujin vassals were included in this army, and that's exactly the reason why they were so strong. They were actually almost even with us in terms of combat strength, so that's the reason why I had to go in there in a manual battle. You can also see that there's an insanely large army running by us right now, and we might very well have to stop the siege to run away from them, but I'm hopeful that we won't have to do that. At least, we can cross our fingers and hope that that's not the case, because generally I don't really want to fight an army that is that large with a weakened force like I have at the moment. My forces are, well, I'm not going to mince words here, they are pretty weak at the moment, and very, very, well, dilapidated, shall we say. So it's going to be a little bit problematic if they decide to come over here, but if they don't, then this is a free castle for us, pretty much. And I'm hopeful that they will literally just walk on. It seems like they are, because there is another siege going on at Akiza Castle. I can assume that that is probably some of our forces. Ah, it seems like they're actually coming back. Oh, interesting. I'm not sure why they would do that, because the siege over there is still going on. As you can see, there's a trebuchet up and running right over there, so I don't know why they would come back here. Okay, that's enough. That's basically what I'm going to have to do. We're at 66%. Let's go straight in here, see if we can take this manually. Obviously, we don't have any of the walls down as far as I'm aware, so it might very well be the case that we really do need to move the siege equipment to the walls, which is really going to not be that good. It's going to potentially result in some rather uncomfortable situations. But I do have a crossbow, so I'm hopefully going to be able to use it, at least a little bit, to weaken some of the enemy's defenses. That actually worked, really. I was... I don't know, I was kind of surprised about that. I really thought I was going to miss the first shot. That's usually what happens, but apparently I'm a little bit more accurate today, so that's pretty nice. Anyway, let's see if we can maybe... Oh, hello there. Ah, yeah, it's unfortunate. That's the thing. I've gotten used to, obviously over the years, you get used to certain games and their hitboxes if you're playing like a, I don't know, first-person shooter or some kind of melee combat game or whatever. You're going to get used to the hitboxes, and in Warband that kind of shot might have gone through, you know. It might have just snuck on by the wall and maybe hit the guy in the shield, no, in the shoulder. Well, yeah, probably in the shield as well, but yeah, maybe in the shoulder. That would have been pretty cool to see, but seems like we're going to have to wait until our siege equipment arrives. Oh, maybe not. Boom, you're dead, sir. Yes, that is what we like to see. Alright. There's another person. Oh, wait a minute. Where's that? Where am I being shot from? Where am I being shot from? I don't see it. Ah, that is actually kind of sad. I was very much... Oh, is it there? In that... Yeah, it seems like they're up there, or in the little room or something like that. Yeah, they do tend to be rather big fans of that. Alright, so we've got the siege towers over to the walls, and I'm going through the central gate, because we did go up, I think, the siege tower in one of the previous episodes, so I was like, you know what, let's just go through the main gate this time. Seems pretty fun to switch things up a little bit, and we'll see if we can maybe get a couple of extra two-handed weapon skill points, because I do have 138 in it, so it might make sense for me to get a little bit more here. Maybe I can also get some athletics skill leveled up too, because if we're running at the same time as attacking, we might very well gain a little bit more athletics. No, a little bit too far away for my, yeah. Unfortunate. We almost had that shot on that guy right there, but no such luck, Alright, well, it seems like indeed that is a victory for us. This is just a preliminary sort of safety siege. That's pretty much what we're attempting to do here, because if I had continued the siege the way I wanted to do it, then we would have been caught by the overwhelming army, and that would have resulted in our defeat almost certainly. So this is more of a safety measure that I'm taking right now. Anyway, let's take all the loot, and we will just be going into the castle and waiting here for some time, and that's basically it. That's pretty much all I can do, and I'm hopeful that we will be maybe potentially making peace with them. I would like to make peace with them if at all possible, because if we can make peace with them, this guy is going to leave very, very quickly, in my opinion. This guy is no way that guy is a native Tetsujin vassal, so it's more than likely he's some kind of faction hopper, but we'll see what happens with him. Maybe he will prove me wrong or something like that. That would be quite nice. Anyway, as you can see, we have 1 and 1 in terms of attributes and focus points. So what are we going to spend it on? I know someone said that I should do some trade skill, because that's going to give me some pretty easy experience points, and that's a good point. Yeah, that's definitely a good point. So I'll probably try and do something about that, but obviously at the moment, considering we're mostly doing constant war, it's going to be a bit difficult for me to, fully get that going. But we'll see if maybe I can find some profit somewhere. Maybe some horses or something along those lines, something that's going to give me a good amount of cash injection or something like that. Anyway, I'm going to level up my polearms, 1 more focus point in that, and we're going to go for another point in social, because we already have a massive amount in intelligence, so another point in social is going to be kind of good, because getting some more charm skill can never hurt, especially considering, we don't... that's the thing. I'm kind of a bit worried about this now, because on the one hand, I really, really want to get more polearm skill, because I have a huge amount of fun using it in field battles. But on the other hand, my charm skill is just about to stop being learned, if you know what I mean, because we have such a low learning rate on it. So I think I'm actually going to spec into this. That's increased its learning rate by a pretty significant amount, and once again, with the attribute point, it's going to increase it even further. Leadership is also going to be something that we might want to also put a focus point in when we have one spare. But, oh yeah, just so that you know, someone asked me, I believe, quite recently, how I leveled up leadership so fast or so high. Okay, there's 2 things here. Once you have the ability to create your own army, and I'm talking about obviously joining someone's kingdom or making your own kingdom, then you can call for your own party clan members. I'd recommend checking out the earlier episodes of this series, because then you can actually see how it's done, although you probably... I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I think actually it does do it much better than any other series that I've made so far. But anyway, point is, if you do that and you get your parties, should we say, created out of your clan members, then you don't have to spend any influence. And early on in the game, influence is pretty scarce, so it's kind of hard to come by. And that's a really easy way of leveling up your leadership, because you can pretty much just run around with an infinite army that has no cost whatsoever to your influence. And secondly, it's probably a good idea, if you're playing on the base game, you've got to realize that experience gain in the base game is, in my opinion, not incredibly balanced just yet. It's very, very difficult and time-consuming to get any of these skills to a high level. And that is Well, that's kind of irritating, especially for someone like me who's creating a video series for YouTube or, you know, streamers or something like that. You know, it's kind of annoying for everyone involved because you don't want to see me fighting huge amounts of bandits all the time, do you? No. Anyway, so that's where Bannerlord Tweaks comes in. I'd highly recommend downloading Bannerlord Tweaks if you have a problem with the leveling system where you just want to tweak your experience even further than it already has. And it kind of gives you like full control over everything pretty much, which is really, really nice. And I generally tend to play on slightly above double experience gain, I think, because even though I feel like even double experience gain is a bit slow, it does tend to give you a good amount of different skills and their levels. So it's not going to be overwhelmingly powerful, because in the past I might have played with slightly higher experience gain because I wasn't too familiar with the mod, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm kind of tired of the native base game experience, so I'm just gonna go for it, you know, just gonna go for it super hard, and that's when I just cranked it all the way up to 11. However, in this particular series, I think it's at like 2.25 or something, or 2.5, I'm not entirely sure, but I'd recommend just tweaking it yourself and seeing what you like the best, because you can see here I'm gaining about 150 leadership per hour, I think, or something like that, but obviously that's a little bit different dependent on a variety of factors. What was actually going on there? Did you see that? Katsuyori was literally running this guy out of town. Pretty literally right there, and this guy is going to be besieging Ortengard, which I don't very much appreciate, so I suppose I'm going to have to go over there and see if I can maybe defend it. But I'm also thinking, there's 178 there. I don't think I even need to be honest. I think I'm going to go to Akalat and try to take that instead. We're going to try and force them into an offensive attack rather than just staying in defense all the time. Let's see if we can make that work. Alright, so let's get some trebuchets up. They only have level 2 walls, so this should be relatively simple for us to take without too many difficulties. There's only there was 150 there, but now there's 137, I think. And hopefully my trebuchets... There we go. They're actually coming. Okay, I might have to... Oh yeah, I'm going to have to actually leave this. Yeah, I'm going to have to leave this, unfortunately. I really didn't want to do that, but I was unaware that they were going to react so fast. I thought to myself, nah, they're gonna stay at the other town, but they must know a little bit about my strategy now, and that's definitely going to make a pretty big difference to how they react to certain things. So that's actually kind of disappointing. Oh well, never mind. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go and very, very quickly sell a bunch of stuff. Obviously, having money is very important, but at the moment, my money situation is just going up like no one's business, mainly because of the income from parties, because most of my people are able to take prisoners, and they're able to then sell those prisoners at taverns. And bear in mind that obviously these prisoners do include vassals as well. I'm not entirely sure if they actually ransom them or what have you, but usually enemy vassals will give you a massive gold boost. But I would not recommend, if you're in a situation like I am, where you're basically fighting against huge amounts of them, I wouldn't recommend doing that yourself. I would recommend getting rid of a lot of regular units or converting them to your side, like you can see me doing here. But generally, I would say, and indeed recommend against selling enemy lords to the tavern. I don't think that's worth it, you know, because at the moment I have 1.49 million gold and pretty much nothing to spend it on, because even if I wanted to try and persuade an enemy lord, it's not actually going to happen, no matter what. You know, basically no matter how much money I have, they're going to decline every single time, unless, as many of you rightfully pointed out, unless they don't have that many fiefs under their control. And that's something that you probably want to check out through the encyclopedia if you're really wanting to target enemy vassals in a persuasion attempt or two. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Odrisa Castle right now and various other little bit of my garrisons. And I'm going to try and gain a good amount of units so that we're back at full strength relatively. Well, not full strength, but we're going to try to be close to it as much as we possibly can. Alright, so we have a pretty cool situation right here. We're going to be attempting to take Phyke on, and as you can see, I've already taken down the level 3 walls. Took us a bit of time to do that, but pretty easy once all of the trebuchets were up and running. I did have to replace them a couple of times, but nothing really to worry about there. Anyway, what we're going to be doing now is basically just charging straight on in. There's pretty much nothing else I have to do, because we have the advantage in pretty much every aspect here. Unfortunately, the Khuzait do have a relatively good defense here as well, which is obviously going to provide a somewhat frightening challenge, actually. So we're going to have to be a little bit careful, because no doubt they will probably shoot me in the face within the next 10 seconds. Let me see. 7, 6, 5... 4, 3, 2, 1. No? Okay, no, apparently they didn't. Alright, well, I guess just a slash across the face then we'll have to do, or something along those lines. Anyway, once again, we're just going to try and get to 150 two-handed weapon proficiency, and then I'm going to concentrate on getting one-handed as well. I might actually create a one-handed sword or something like that. I think a one-handed sword could be really fun to use. We know how fun it is to use, of course, but we're not really focusing on one-handeds or anything like that, so, you know, at least in this series. We've done that in the Duelist series, and that was a huge amount of fun, got to say that. Anyway, we're going to have to see if I can maybe find a more efficient way of attacking these guys, because you can see here that, yes, we are getting some kills, but it is a little bit sporadic. I'm not getting a hit every single time I slash or anything like that, but we are getting quite a few eliminations to our name right here, which is pretty nice. And bear in mind that these guys are literally just running around. They're not actually fighting back. Ah, there we go. They fought back a little bit there. Get him. Get him. Okay, what's my athletic skill on, actually? I don't even know. Oh, wow. There's a lot of enemies right here. A lot of enemies. Oh, and there's a lot of my people coming in as well. Alright. Seems like we just completely sandwiched them between both of our forces coming in from each wall. And that was fantastic. That worked really, really nicely. Alright, so there you go. We actually did do 7. We literally lost 7? That's crazy. Alright, well, 34 renown is not that much. So, of course, it does kind of, you know, equal out a little bit there. Anyway, there we go. We'll just take all the prisoners. I think I'm probably not even going to be bothering to sell them or anything like that. I might just put them in the garrison somewhere nearby or something like that. I think that would probably be the best thing. Anyway, let's go into the smithy real quick, because I wouldn't mind seeing if maybe there's a one-handed that I can make that looks relatively similar to a katana or something like that. I mean, generally, let me actually just have a look here. I do have some katana blades that I might actually be able to use rather nicely. And we have the decorated guard as well. Look at how cool that looks. In my opinion, that looks very cool. So wait a minute. These are both one-handed / two-handed. I'm hopeful. Is there not a way that I can get just a one-handed katana? It seems like that's not the case. Right, okay. So I might just have to go for a one-handed then. Because if I want to level up one-handed skill, it's going to be much more efficient to build something like this. Whoa, that's actually a pretty cool looking blade right there. It's got some nice detailing on it. It's an engraved backsword blade. Don't think I've ever heard of that. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever used anything like that, so maybe we should make that. That seems pretty fun. Alright, let's just have a look-see here. Oh, that looks cool too. Okay. What does it actually do? It makes the cutting damage better, but this makes the handling better. I like this a little bit more than the other one, so we're probably going to go for that. And then we can choose a grip as well. Don't want it to be one-handed / two-handed, as I said, so we're probably just going to go all the way down here and just try and select something that's going to work quite nicely for us. Okay, what about that one? Ooh, that's looking pretty nice, I think. Let's make the blade bigger, because I want it to have a decent amount of reach, but I also want it to have good handling. I think 89 handling's pretty decent for a one-handed sword, right? I think it should be pretty good. Anyway, let's just make this. It's going to do more cutting damage. What looks better? That actually looks a little bit like a dueling sword right there with its pommel. I think it looks pretty nice, but How's the swing speed on it? This is much better for handling. Yeah, I'm gonna have to make that a little bit smaller. Let's make this. Doesn't really matter, actually, apparently. And what about this one? That also doesn't really matter. So the blade is the main thing that actually incorporates things. So I'm just going to make that a little smaller. And I think that's it. I think that's what we're going to do. So let's make it and hope for... Wait a minute. Was that a legendary? Because it says weapon crafted in orange. I don't know. Am I using... that's actually kind of funny. I'm using like Diablo-esque color coding for legendaries, because it's probably something completely different. I mean, it probably isn't even color coded, to be honest, but anyway, let's call it something like yeah, I have no idea. I was gonna say like Duelist's Destroyer or something along those lines, but that's kind of boring, no? I mean, we've already had a kind of Duelist character, so I'm thinking maybe something a little bit different from that. So I'm thinking, what should we go for? Yeah, what about something like the Decimator or something along those lines? Something like that? Yeah, maybe? Ugh, whatever. Alright, let's just do that. Okay, so we gained a skill point. Look at that, huge amounts of experience gain as well. I think that seems pretty cool. The engraving looks so nice. So yeah, it should be quite nice to use. Anyway, we'll try it out in the upcoming battle, because no doubt there's going to be one relatively soon. So where is it? Oh, it's actually not even that good. I mean, you can see that right there. I'm going to just replace the one that I had beforehand. And we're going to use a one-handed for the foreseeable future, at least until I've leveled up my one-handed weapon proficiency a little bit, because otherwise, why did I put all those points in it, right? Anyway, we've got 142 defenders right here, so we should be pretty good. They should be able to defend this for a decent amount of time, even if a relatively large army comes out of nowhere. They should be able to hold their own until I'm able to return. Now, you can see here, these guys have a pretty significant garrison. What? Look at that. Their garrison is insane. They've got 461. They have 67,000 HP on the walls. They are level 3 walls, of course, so that is going to make a pretty big difference. I was actually hoping that they'd give this to me, but they're giving this to this guy. Not a big fan of giving a town to this guy, so I'm just going to give it to Hanzo once again. And, well, let's just hope that he knows what he's doing, because I'm a little bit worried about that. Anyway, probably going to get attacked by a large army. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Hanzo is over there. He's besieging Akalat, which is actually perfect, because that means that both the Khuzait and anyone else that wants to try and attack us, because the Aserai are actually attacking us now at the same time. And there you go, Akalat got taken. They have to actually choose between them. Oh, we're making peace with the Aserai. Okay, that's actually fine. I like this. Good, yes, I like making peace with the Aserai, because they're very annoying. And then otherwise, there's something else. Oh yes, the owner. Okay, let's give this to Hanzo. I really don't want this guy to have a town of any kind. No offense, but I don't trust him. So we're going to just try and give most of the towns to Hanzo, or to me, or to someone that just literally took 5k on in no time at all. Okay, so there's apparently a very large army over there. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Great. Well, I guess that's not actually that bad, because as you can see, there's only 137 defenders there. It should be pretty easy for us to take that back. I mean, in general, that's what I'm going to do. Anything that we've done before, I'll try and take it off screen, but the army is going to be significantly weakened as a result of their action there, so should be pretty good. So if Hanzo does actually come over here and wants to help us out a little bit, he's going to be able to take this in literally one fell swoop. There's no way he's going to have any issues. He's traveling to Onika at the moment, and that's it. I don't know whether he's going to make a brief stop over here and maybe help us out somewhat, but I don't know whether it matters. Does it matter? Not really. I mean, where's that army? I'm actually kind of surprised that they haven't turned up here yet. I would have expected them to, like, swing around 5k on, take that almost instantaneously, because apparently they did, and then they were going to make a stop over here and try and stop us actively from taking the castle next door. That seems to be the case, at least. Anyway, there we go. We've leveled up our charm skill once again. So let's have courtship. Gain one leadership? No, 1 influence per day for each allied lord party that are not currently in an army while waiting in the same town. Very specific, weird weird perk right there. And when you visit your own settlements, they get a +5 loyalty bonus once per day. I think that's perfectly fine and much better than the other one, so I'm going to take Parade. Yeah, I'm actually taking a perk on the bottom list. Can you believe it? Yeah, it's very rare to see that. Anyway, once again, our trebuchets are going to get the walls down, and as soon as the walls are down, and I think we're going to attack in the nighttime as well, because attacking in the nighttime should reduce the accuracy of the enemy archers, and that's exactly what we like, so we're going to try and make the most of that. And otherwise, we're just going to be telling everyone to charge in. I don't want anyone on the trebuchets, I don't want anyone on the battering rams or the siege towers or anything like that, so we're just going to get everyone to pile in to the walls. Like this. Perfect. Oh yes, this is exactly what we want. And maybe I can just, you know, park my horse over here, get off, and not get shot in the face. Thank you very much. No. Ow. Yeah, there we go. Took out that guy, and one of our friends has already gotten a fantastic vantage point. Look at that guy right there. He's just murdering all of those archers. Absolutely fantastic. And I should really switch to my one-handed now and get right in there. Let's get stuck in, shall we? Oh, look at the damage. The damage is much better than the other weapon already. Wow. What? Why is that? That is super weird. I guess it is literally just because it is a one-handed / two-handed. As I said, it does suffer a slight damage disadvantage. Well, should we say a damage penalty for being a hybrid weapon, and it also has a slight speed penalty as well when swinging. And I believe it is 33% or somewhere near abouts. But yeah, with a one-handed or a pure two-handed weapon, you're not going to really be having those kinds of penalties. So yeah, generally it's a good idea if you are wanting to use different weapon types to have those weapon types on hand, just in case you want to use them. Nice headshot, even though they were kind of bugging out there and walking into each other weirdly. As you can see, it's kind of hard to hit this guy because he's literally doing a dance on the roof right there. Nice. Took him down. We have 121 in crossbows now. I'm very much hoping that we'll be able to get 125. Seems like crossbow is very difficult to level up unless you use it almost constantly. And, I mean, you would expect that, wouldn't you? I mean, it's a skill in Bannerlord. Obviously, you've got to use it constantly to level it up. Anyway, there you go. 36 renown. I don't really care too much about the prisoners, so I'm just going to let my people take them if they want. And the loot is going to be fantastic too. The loot is just great. I mean, I really love taking all of that loot, especially with the looting mod. I feel like it makes a huge difference because it's just so much more realistic. If you don't know what the looting mod does, basically it just allows a small percentage chance for some of the loot that the enemies had equipped to be included in the mutual looting menu, pretty much. So it just gives you a more realistic feel. If you're fighting an enemy vassal, for example, then you might have a chance to get their armor in the actual loot at the end of the battle, in comparison to never having a chance to get that. Or an extremely, such a minimal chance that it would never happen. That's the kind of thing that the mod changes around a little bit. It doesn't change how much loot you get, it just incorporates some extra items that wouldn't usually be there. So yeah, it's pretty cool in my opinion. And we're going to vote for the new owner of Chernopsis Castle. This guy, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll give him castles, but I'm not really going to trust him with a town, because if he defects with a town, it's going to be a significant blow to the Tetsujin as a whole, and I would much prefer to have him just randomly have like castles all over the place if he wants them. I mean, it seems like the AI is a bit weird when it comes to that, because this guy obviously does not have any land. Otherwise, they would be giving him things elsewhere. Anyway, we're just going to do a small little auto-resolve right there. Take back 5k on. This is exactly what I do off-screen as well. These kinds of sieges where I basically just go right in there, take the hit in terms of the 13 or so that were lost, and then that's it. And then we can just move on straight away, and obviously the defenders are right there. If we wanted to just wait here a little bit longer, then we could do that too. And we're going to be giving this to, I'm hopeful, Hanzo. No. Okay, that's pretty bad. That might actually be pretty bad. If this guy ends up leaving, then 5k on is going to leave with him, and that's going to be very, very bad indeed. Then I'm going to have to take it back for a third time. Anyway, this is what the map currently looks like. You can see here that Ortengard is absolutely still fine. Unfortunately, Akisa Castle and Hakun Castle were not going to be taken back, but Akalat has also returned to our ownership, and we are now at peace against the Aserai. Unfortunately, I did get a notification that our previous fief, Sahel Castle, was indeed taken by the Aserai, and I assume that that's the reason why a peace agreement was reached, because they had taken something and then they wanted to end hostilities, or you know, once they had improved their territory in a very small way. Anyway, the somewhat patheticness of the AI notwithstanding, we're obviously going to be heading on to deal more damage to the Khuzait. Let me see if I can just increase my cohesion a little bit here. And I'm thinking. I'm not entirely sure where I should go right now, because I'm thinking that maybe I want to restore my army a little bit. I mean, we've got... Yeah, I mean, that's the point. Every single time we go into one of these places, we place a whole bunch of defenders in there. And that is obviously a pretty big problem, because placing defenders in there does reduce our overall combat strength by a very large amount. And as you can see, this is the army, I believe, that took 5k on back from us. So let me actually just take a quick look here. Maybe I can run around them a little bit and actually try to stop them. I mean, they're just doing this at the moment. It's 92, 86. Yeah, they're very quickly getting these guys down. Maybe I can go in there with a good tactic skill. We're gonna lose as many as 71 troops. Okay, I'm gonna try this out just for pure science, and we're gonna do this. Okay, so we lost 56 troops. Okay, I guess that's actually not even that bad. Okay, so let's see what they do. Are they gonna head in here? If they, oh, they do. All right, they're actually going in. This is going to be a pretty fun experience for us right here. Okay, so my skills are all shored up quite nicely, and let's attack. All right, so they do outnumber us quite a lot, but we are defending. However, the walls are indeed down, which is very bad. But wait a minute. We have more combat strength than they do? It's probably... Oh, I know why that is. Okay, yeah. It's because the defenders usually have more troops on the battlefield initially, and then as the attackers eliminate more of the defending troops, then it obviously changes, and will sway more towards the attacker's favor if they are indeed doing well enough. Anyway, I'm just going to try and do a little bit of... Well, should we say glancing damage? Nothing really too dramatic. I just wanted to try and eliminate that guy. Maybe what we can do is do some damage with our siege equipment. I'd like to go over there if I can. Oh, nice. I didn't know I could actually do that. That's pretty cool. Okay, Ballista, hello there. Ah, that's not going to work. What about here? Okay. Oh, that was absolutely delicious. Did you see the ragdoll? The ragdoll that literally... Oh, that is great. Okay, yeah. Okay, we're done with the ballista now. That was just absolutely wonderful. Killing an enemy vassal with a ballista and having his ragdoll basically, like, I don't even know, get blown back in such a hilarious manner. That is just priceless. Absolutely wonderful. Alright, so yeah, we're seemingly doing quite well here. I'm going to bring out my polearm because I think my polearm could do quite well here. Nice, look at that. It's doing so much damage, even off a horse. What? Are you serious right now? Is this polearm overpowered? Yes, I think it is. Don't change it, developers. It is perfectly balanced. I mean, it is very large and unwieldy, so... It is extremely difficult to use in close quarter situations, so obviously there's that, but right now, this is probably the best weapon that I could probably use. Just look at how much damage it's able to do against these enemies right here, and it's cutting damage, bear that in mind. These guys are literally top tier. These are like tier 5, tier 4, maybe even, I don't even know whether they have tier 6s in here right now. But you can see how much damage I'm able to deal, and I can basically stay at arm's length and pretty much do this completely safely and have no issues whatsoever with defending. Now, bear in mind, however, that if they do attempt to attack me, I will have no defense whatsoever. That's the main weakness of this weapon. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything to defend, but that's the whole point. I'm pretty much just... Oh, what? How did that crossbowman even do that? What a crazy guy. I would not have expected a crossbowman to be able to literally draw his crossbow inside the enemy's walls and get a bolt off. That is actually crazy. I would not have expected that, not in a million years. What a skillful fellow. He was super, super skilled to be able to pull that off. Anyway, thankfully we are able to murder some more of these people right here. And we seem... I don't know how it's going. How is it going right now? What do you think? It's not going too well, is it? I feel like we're doing pretty badly, actually. Even though I'm killing something pretty much like every 5 seconds or so, I don't think it's actually going that well. Yeah, obviously, if there are allies around me as well, it's going to be very difficult to use this weapon. So you need a little bit of space. I'm going to tell all my guys to charge in now, actually. I'm going to tell them to charge in because I feel like we are going to end up losing this if we don't. As you can see, the enemy has actually eliminated 240 of our units so far, and I feel like this might actually be a defeat. It might be a defeat. Can you believe it? I actually can't. This might be bad. This might be really, really bad. Okay, I'm going to actually continue using my polearm. Seems like that is the most effective weapon I have at the moment. Okay, I'm gonna switch to my one-handed. Oh dear. Alright, I'm gonna have to retreat, actually. I'm gonna have to retreat from here. Ooh, that was bad. Oh dear. We got ourselves taken prisoner, guys. Yeah, looks like we got ourselves taken prisoner all over this. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Even though we had a slight advantage being the defenders, they obviously took our walls down. Well, technically, we took our own walls down beforehand. And now, that is a defeat for us. That is a complete and utter defeat, and we are going to have to deal with it. So, what I'll do is I'll go away for a little bit. I'll try to get my units back into my army, and we'll see where we can go from there. And that is pretty much it. But yeah, once I hit this send troops button, we will be taken prisoner, and our companions will be scattered to the wind, unfortunately, and I'll have to try and get those back. But I guess on that melancholic note, that will be the end of this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.